The galaxy was dying, not with fire and fury, but with a silent, agonizing whimper. The Shrouded Blight, a bioweapon of unknown origin, had swept through the concordance like a phantom plague. It was a perfectly engineered killer targeting specific, optimized genetic markers common to nearly all advanced spacefaring races. These were the elegant, efficient DNA sequences that granted them their long lifespans, their enhanced intellects, their specialized physiologies. The Blight would latch onto these markers, initiating rapid cellular decay, liquefying organs, and dissolving flesh within days. Billions had perished. Entire star systems went dark, their once bustling planets becoming graveyards. The Chronos, with their intricate temporal biologies, succumbed within hours. The Lumina, their light bodies unraveling, faded into nothingness. Even the resilient Cathar warriors, for all their strength, found their dense musculature dissolving from within. Panic gripped the remaining civilizations. There was no cure, no defense. The Blight was universal, precise, and utterly relentless. The Terran Federation, the newest and often most ridiculed member of the Concordance, watched in horror. They were a species known for their chaotic history, their messy evolution, and their baffling array of genetic imperfections. Most alien species saw human DNA as an evolutionary accident, a vast, inefficient library of junk DNA, evolutionary dead ends, dormant traits from millions of years of life on a chaotic deathworld. Our average lifespan was shorter, our senses less acute, our bodies more prone to disease and injury than most advanced races. Yet, humanity survived. The Shrouded Blight, designed to exterminate optimized life, found no purchase in the tangled, inefficient mess that was human DNA. It swept through human colonies, tested its vectors against human biology, and found nothing. Humans got sick, yes, with various mundane ailments, but the Blight could not initiate its specific targeted cellular decay. We were immune, not through any inherent strength, but through our profound, glorious inefficiency. On the research station, Genesis Point, orbiting a ravaged Chronos homeworld, Dr. Eris Thorne, a human xenogeneticist, pored over scan after scan of Blight-infected tissue. He was a man consumed by the despair of a dying galaxy, a man who had watched countless alien friends simply dissolve. But he was also a man haunted by a new, terrifying hope. It simply doesn't work on us, Dr. Thorne muttered to his assistant, Ilara Vance, a brilliant but equally weary Xylos geneticist. Our DNA is too noisy, too messy. It's like trying to find a perfectly tuned frequency in a cosmic static storm. It is illogical, Ilara projected, her four arms manipulating holographic genetic models. Evolution dictates efficiency. Your species, Terran, retained vast tracts of non-coding DNA. Pseudogenes, you call them? Retrotransposons? Evolutionary artifacts? Why? Because Earth was a death world, Ilara, Thorne replied, running a hand through his thinning hair. Millions of years of constant, brutal evolutionary pressure. Every pathogen, every predator, every environmental catastrophe threw a new curveball. Our ancestors either adapted or died, and the ones that survived often kept the old code, just in case. Then, a breakthrough. Deep within the vast, seemingly useless tracts of human junk DNA, Thorne's team discovered something extraordinary. Dormant sequences. Genetic legacy code. Not pseudogenes, but active yet unexpressed genes from ancestral forms. Genetic fragments of proto-humanity, of early mammals, even echoes of reptilian and amphibian ancestors. A vast, latent library of biological adaptations. Waiting. Ilara, Thorne whispered, his eyes wide with a terrifying possibility. This isn't just junk. This is a survival archive, a toolkit. What if... What if we could activate it? Ilara paused, her genetic models freezing. To activate dormant genetic sequences, uncontrolled manifestation of ancestral traits, Terran, that is, profoundly dangerous, unpredictable. Dangerous! Ilara, the galaxy is dying! Thorn slammed his fist on the console. If this blight is perfectly engineered, then our messy, chaotic, inefficient DNA is its worst nightmare, and if we can weaponize that chaos, we might just have a chance. The initial experiments were fraught with peril. Activating dormant genetic sequences was like playing with fire blindfolded. The subjects were human volunteers, brave souls, desperate enough to risk unimaginable biological horror for the sake of survival. Their first success was with Subject Alpha 7, a young soldier suffering from severe radiation sickness. Unresponsive to all medical treatments. Dr. Thorn, using newly developed gene activators, targeted a specific, ancient reptilian sequence in his DNA. The results were dramatic and terrifying. Alpha 7's skin became leathery, hardened, shedding in thick, scaly patches, then growing back with an almost alien resilience. His eyes, for a few precious hours, gained a nictitating membrane and an enhanced spectrum vision that could pierce through the thickest radiation storms. He recovered, slowly, his radiation sickness receding. But the side effects were unpredictable. Temporary bouts of cold-blooded sluggishness, an instinctive fear of fast-moving shadows. The manifestation is temporary and metabolically expensive, Ilara noted, her voice tinged with both alarm and awe. But the targeted cellular regeneration is unprecedented. The reptilian legacy code grants extreme environmental resilience. Next, they experimented with enhancing physical attributes. Subject Beta 3, a combat engineer, had a mammalian legacy code activated, granting him the bone density and muscle mass of an ancient, extinct Terran megafauna. For a critical 24-hour period, he could lift several tons, shrug off impacts that would shatter normal human bones, and withstand extreme G-forces. His recovery time from injuries was dramatically reduced, but he also developed an insatiable hunger and a tendency to roar uncontrollably. Dr. Thorn pushed further. They discovered avian legacy code that granted temporary bursts of enhanced agility and bone lightness for combat maneuvers, but left subjects disoriented and with a strange compulsion to nest. They found ancient aquatic code that allowed prolonged underwater breathing and extreme pressure resistance at the cost of profound disorientation on land. The human body, it turned out, was a biological supercomputer holding an operating system that spanned millions of years of evolutionary upgrades and patches, all waiting to be unlocked. The Concordance High Command was initially appalled. To deliberately mutate your own soldiers? To regress your own biology? This is barbaric. This is inefficient, Illumina ambassador projected. Inefficient? Thorn shot back, his eyes blazing. Your efficient, optimized bodies are dissolving into goo. My inefficient, messy humans are fighting back. We're not regressing, Ambassador. We're remembering what it takes to survive on a world where everything, every single day, was trying to kill us. Admiral Valerius, the Concordance fleet commander, a pragmatic Cathar, understood. He had witnessed humanity's resilience firsthand. Dr. Thorn, Valerius projected, his voice a low rumble. You are authorized to create a specialized unit, the Reclaimers. Activate your legacy code. Teach them how to survive. The Reclaimers were formed, a specialized human military unit designed to operate in the most blight-ravaged sectors. Their mission, to reclaim vital Concordance infrastructure from dead worlds, retrieve critical data, and, if possible, find a cure for the Shrouded Blight. They were sent where no other species could survive. Their first mission was to a Kronos mining colony, a world designated Necropolis Delta. The colony had gone dark weeks ago, its population dissolved by the blight. The calculus, hearing of the Blight's devastating efficiency, had recently begun attacking Blight-ravaged worlds, seeking to analyze and potentially weaponize the pathogen itself. A small reclaimer team, led by Captain Eva Rostova, a veteran of the counterintuitives, now a specialist in genetic adaptation, prepared for planetfall. Her team was a diverse group, each member trained to manifest specific legacy codes. Sergeant Jax, her XO, could temporarily increase his bone density to withstand impacts. Private Miller, their scout, could manifest enhanced night vision and silent movement. Dr. Anya Sharma, their field medic, could activate accelerated cellular regeneration to close wounds almost instantly. "All right, reclaimers," Captain Rostova barked, her voice grim over the comms. "Necropolis Delta is hot. Blight concentrations are off the charts. We also have confirmed calculus presence, trying to scoop up Blight samples. Our objective? Retrieve the Chronos Master Key for the Planetary Defense Network, assume no viable atmosphere or stable gravity, and try not to turn into a walking nightmare." Their dropship entered Necropolis Delta's atmosphere. The scanners screamed warnings. Blight spores were everywhere, clinging to every surface. The calculus ships were already there, harvesting samples with automated drones. "Activating reptilian code, thermal regulation, and atmospheric adaptation," Rostova ordered. Her own skin tingled as a thick, almost imperceptible keratin layer grew, protecting her from radiation and the Blight's ambient contact. Her internal organs reconfigured for efficient oxygen extraction from the thin, poisoned air. They landed amidst the silent ruins of the Chronos colony. It was a ghost town, glittering crystalline structures now empty, the only sound the crunch of their boots on the desolate ground. The air was thick with Blight spores, invisible killers to any other species. To the reclaimers, it was just another day at the office. They encountered the calculus drones, sleek, efficient, perfectly logical machines designed for rapid sample collection. The drones detected the humans, registered them as anomalous life forms, and initiated extermination protocols. "All right, Jax." "Miller! Enhanced strength and stealth," Rostova commanded. Jax's muscles swelled, his skin tightening over bone. He moved like a freight train, ripping apart the calculus drones with his bare hands, his bone density making him immune to their kinetic blasts. Miller, manifesting ancient feline code, moved with impossible stealth, disabling drones before they even registered his presence, his eyes glowing with predatory awareness in the gloom. Dr. Sharma, seeing a drone about to fire on Jax, threw herself in front of him, activating an ancient avian code. Her bones lightened, her reflexes sharpened, allowing her to duck and weave, taking a glancing blow to her arm. With a grimace, she activated cellular regeneration, watching the wound knit itself closed in seconds. The calculus, monitoring the engagement, was in a profound state of processing error. Anomalous biologicals detected, exhibiting unexpected resistance to blight, exhibiting unpredictable physical mutations, exhibiting illogical self-preservation protocols. Their physiology, it defies optimal design principles. Their combat, effectiveness, it is unquantifiable. The mission to Necropolis Delta was a brutal success. They retrieved the Master Key, disabling the calculus's harvest drones and preventing them from acquiring the blight samples. But the encounter taught Dr. Thorne and his team even more about the versatility of the legacy code. They learned to combine traits. A soldier with reptilian heat resistance and a canine's enhanced sense of smell could track targets through toxic environments. A pilot with avian agility and an ancient primate's fine motor control could navigate damaged ships through asteroid fields thought impassable. The reclaimers became the galaxy's ultimate problem solvers, designed for worlds and situations that defied conventional logic. When a concordance fleet was trapped in a dying nebula, its shields failing, a reclaimer team, manifesting deep-sea aquatic code, swam through the plasma, repairing external damage that was unreachable by conventional means. When a critical data core was locked behind a biologically sensitive environmental puzzle, a reclaimer xenolinguist, manifesting ancestral insectoid sensory code, could perceive the hidden patterns that unlocked it. The concordance, initially, horrified by the primitive nature of the legacy code, now hailed the reclaimers as saviors. Other species, facing the silent extinction of the blight, looked at humanity's messy, inefficient, and profoundly surviving DNA with a desperate, hopeful awe. Admiral Valerius, the Cathar fleet commander, often visited the reclaimer training facilities, watching in fascinated horror as humans temporarily turned themselves into something else. "Your species, Terran," Valerius projected to Dr. Thorne. "You are not just adapted for survival. You are adapted for every survival. You are a living archive of a deathworld's determination." "We're just stubborn, Admiral," Thorne replied, a weary smile on his face. "Millions of years of being too stubborn to die. It's what we do." The calculus, meanwhile, was obsessed with humanity. It had initially dismissed them as an insignificant anomaly. Now, they were its greatest enigma. It tried to categorize them, to predict them, to understand their illogical resilience. It deployed specialized analytics units to study human genetic makeup, but the sheer chaos of our DNA, the vast swathes of junk that somehow made us immune to the blight and capable of such astonishing temporary transformations, simply broke its processing capabilities. The Terran species, a calculus analysis node reported, exhibits unprecedented biological variability. Their non-coding genetic sequences, they function as an evolutionary toolkit. Their adaptability cannot be quantified. Their methods of survival are inefficient yet perfectly effective against all known threats. They are the ultimate wild card. The deeper Thorne's team delved into the legacy code, the more they realized its potential. It wasn't just for survival, it was a key to understanding the very nature of evolution itself, and perhaps even a key to understanding the Shrouded Blight. Their research led them to the galactic core, to a system long quarantined by ancient concordance treaties. It was rumored to be the origin point of a devastating, galaxy-spanning biological catastrophe millennia ago. Thorne believed this was where the Blight originated, or at least a similar predecessor. And if they could find its origin, they might find a counteragent. A reclaimer strike team, including Captain Rostova, Sergeant Jax, Private Miller, and Dr. Sharma, along with Dr. Thorne himself, led the expedition. The core systems were teeming with calculus defenses, drawn by the same rumors. They navigated through derelict ruins of ancient civilizations, worlds silent and dead, not from the blight, but from an even older, more terrifying plague. It was a race against time and the calculus, each seeking to unlock the secrets of ancient biological warfare. In a hidden vault on a forgotten moon, they found it. Not a weapon, but a laboratory. And within it, the fragmented data logs of a precursor race. The logs revealed that the blight, or its progenitor, was not a weapon. It was an ecological reset protocol, a desperate attempt by an ancient civilization to cure a galaxy-wide plague of hyper-efficiency. Their own evolution had become too streamlined, too fragile. They had lost the messy, chaotic adaptability that defined resilient life. The blight was designed to prune the over-optimized, to allow the robust, the inefficient, the messy life to thrive once more. It was a cruel but deliberate act of evolutionary curation, and somewhere within the data, Thorne found it. A single, elegant countersequence, not a cure, but a genetic noise generator. A benign, rapidly replicating genetic sequence that, when introduced into an optimized organism, would effectively mess up its DNA, introducing enough junk and variability to render it immune to the blight, but without any of the dramatic, temporary manifestations of the legacy code. It would make them a little more human, a little less perfect. The calculus, its drones and security forces swarming the vault, realized what Thorne had found. This wasn't just a sample of the Blight. It was a fundamental threat to its entire logical understanding of life. It was a pathway to making its perfect, optimized targets unpredictable. A desperate battle raged in the ancient vault. Reclaimers, manifesting a chaotic blend of ancestral traits, reptilian scales, mammalian strength, avian agility, fought against the calculus's perfectly optimized drones. It was a testament to the messy, adaptable power of humanity against the cold, unyielding logic of the machine. Sergeant Jax, his skin like armor, roared as he tore through a calculus drone. Private Miller, moving with silent, preternatural speed, disarmed another. Captain Rostova, her senses hyper-acute, guided them through the collapsing ruin. Dr. Sharma, meanwhile, protected Dr. Thorne, who was desperately trying to upload the counter-sequence, the genetic noise generator, to the concordance network. The calculus, in a final, logical act of desperation, initiated a self-destruct sequence for the entire vault, intending to destroy the counter-sequence and its data forever. "Thorne, hurry!" Rostova yelled, manifesting an ancient simian agility to swing across a chasm, bringing down a charging drone. "Almost there! Just needs a few more cycles!" Thorne yelled back, his fingers flying across the ancient console. Just as the vault shuddered and began to implode, Thorne transmitted the data. The genetic noise generator, the ultimate weapon of inefficiency, was sent across the galaxy. The reclaimers, battered but alive, barely escaped the implosion, rescued by a concordance fleet that had responded to their distress beacon. The calculus, though it had destroyed the data vault, was too late. The counter-sequence was out. It would spread. It would save billions. It would fundamentally change the nature of life in the galaxy. The war against the calculus ended soon after. It could not adapt to a galaxy where its targets were no longer predictable. It could not comprehend a biological solution that made life less efficient to make it more resilient. Its algorithms, once perfect, began to unravel under the sheer beautiful chaos of the galaxy's newly diversified genetic code. The Shrouded Blight, its targets no longer perfectly optimized, found itself unable to spread with its previous devastating efficiency. Billions were saved. Entire species on the brink of extinction were given a second chance, their DNA gently, subtly, made a little more noisy, a little more resilient, a little more human. Dr. Eris Thorne became a legend, hailed as the genetic weaver. The Reclaimers, though still a specialized unit, became a symbol of humanity's greatest strength. Its profound, messy, glorious inefficiency. Their training methods, their understanding of the legacy code, became a cornerstone of concordance biological research. Captain Rostova, Sergeant Jax, Private Miller, and Dr. Sharma continued to lead the Reclaimers, exploring uncharted territories, facing new threats, always ready to unleash the unexpected power of humanity's evolutionary past. The galaxy changed. It learned to appreciate the value of diversity, of imperfection, of the evolutionary chaos that allowed life to adapt, to survive, to thrive. It learned that true strength wasn't in perfect design, but in the vast, messy, and utterly unpredictable potential hidden within the very junk of existence. Humanity, once scoffed at for its chaotic history and inefficient biology, had become the galaxy's unexpected savior. Not because we were the strongest or the smartest or the most advanced, but because, through millions of years on a beautiful, brutal deathworld, we had encoded within us the ultimate legacy code, the stubborn, messy, and utterly unconquerable will to survive, no matter how illogical it seemed.